friends, it's Mrs. Ross again, and I'm here today having fun in my garden, and I'm going to plant some sweet pea seeds. These aren't the kind of seeds that you eat, or the kind of peas that you eat. They are the type that you grow for flowers. So Cooper's going to join me. Hi, Cooper. So overnight I soaked these in water so that they would pop open a little bit, and some of them are starting to pop open a little bit and are a little softer. So I'm going to plant them. I've made this trellis. I've tried sweet peas for so many years and they never work. Part of the reason is because they don't have something to grow on, and so finally I got some netting and I decided I'd make this trellis to see if it'll help let the sweet peas grow, because they'll grow really tall. So I'm going to plant these and I'm going to see if they'll work this year. I've probably done this 7 times, 7 different years, and they never work, but I keep coming back and trying it again. So when I plant these, I'm just going to put the seed right there at the top of my mound, and then I'm just going to push it down just to that first little line of my finger, so that way the seed can go in just far enough, and I'll leave a little hole there so it'll show me right where I planted the last one. And I'm going to plant these about 1 inch apart for right now. If they all sprout and they're looking good, then I might thin them out a little bit so I don't have quite as many plants that are competing. So I'm just going to go all along here and plant my sweet pea seeds, and then we'll come back together. I've got a book to share with you, and I also have a journal that we're going to make for gardening. See you later. I wanted to tell you about this book that I found called We Are the Gardeners, and it's by Joanna Gaines and her kids. And I really love this book because it talks a lot about trying and trying again. So as a family, they've planted a garden and they've realized that things just aren't working out. The places that they put their fern inside wasn't the perfect spot, and the places that they had put their things on the outside of the garden weren't working out, and so they were just going to try again in a different way. And I loved that because it's a good reason to keep a garden journal so that you can write down what you are planting, where you're planting it, and maybe why it didn't work. And then that way, the next year, when you try it again, it'll give you some more ideas. So you might want to Google We Are the Gardeners, look it up on YouTube if you don't have the book at home, and see if there's a read aloud for that one, because it's a really good book and I think you'd enjoy it. Hi friends, I'm ready to make the journal that I was telling you about in the garden the other day, and I'm using things that I just had around my house. So I had some blank paper, so I got that out. I got maybe 5 or 6 pieces of paper, and then I tried to think of something that I could use for a cover, and I found this bag from the Body Shop, and I thought, well, that's kind of thick, I could use that as a cover. So you could use cardboard, or you could use, like I did, just grab a bag or even a grocery sack. There's all sorts of different things that you can use around your house, boxes, things like that, that would make great journals. So I trimmed my first part, the top and the bottom, cover and the back of the book, and then I trimmed my pages, the inside pages, so that they would be the same size. And now I'm ready to cut my yarn off. And if you want to just use your yarn, you sure can, and use that to tie up your book. But I'm going to cut mine apart and show you how to do something that's kind of fun. So once I get those pieces off, I've already got holes punched in here, and I'm lucky enough that I have a hole puncher at my house, so I can just punch right through and use it like this. But if you don't happen to have a hole puncher at your house, you can use a pencil and just kind of poke the paper, and it'll make some nice holes so that you can do this special type of a book. So the way I did, I lined up the holes, and then you can take a rubber band. If you have, you can use a hair tie or anything, even using the yarn that was on the bag is fine, but I thought this was kind of fun. I'm going to go up from the back and thread that first corner of the rubber band through. It's kind of a tight fit. Let me try it one more time. I'm going to use my little stick here to line it up. So once you get your rubber band through, you're going to just hold that little piece out. And I'm going to use this stick and hold it just like this. So I'm going to put the last piece through the back side and then tie my stick on. If your rubber band is a little too short, I did bring myself a second rubber band here. Oh, it's right there. I was just going to attach this one to it and make it a little bit longer in case it needed a little extra room. So I'll line up these holes and do the same thing. Just thread that through. My goodness, it's being tough here. Gotta use my fingernails. And I think I need a little bit longer stick, but this will give you the idea. So once you've got your book made, your stick or your little twig is holding that piece together. And I didn't want that body shot part to show, so I cut another piece of paper that can go, actually this was the inside of the bag, so I'm just reusing anything and everything I had around the house. And that's going to make my little garden journal. Now the book that I told you about that was written by Joanna Gaines is called We Are the Gardeners. And in that book they talk about things that went wrong in their garden and how they're going to do it when they do it differently, what they're going to try to do again. And that's one thing in the garden that you just have to keep trying again and again, and just give it a try a second time if it doesn't work out. The sweet peas, like I told you about, give me a pencil. The sweet peas, like I told you about, I have not worked in my yard for many, many years. And I just keep trying, and Mr. Ross thinks it's crazy, but I keep going. So on my book, I'm just going to call it My Garden Journal. My Garden Journal. And I can put a little picture on the front. I can say who it's by down at the bottom. And the things that I'm going to write in my journal, I'm going to write when I planted it, where I planted it, and what it's doing on that day. So I'm going to just say, I planted sweet peas. And I planted them, I've got to check the date. It's hard when you don't do calendar. It's March 25th. I planted sweet peas on March 25th. And like I said, sweet peas are one of the things that you plant early in the year. So that's why we get to plant them now. And I'm going to draw a little picture of my trellis. So I just used some netting that was out there, and I'm going to just make a quick netting picture so you can tell that this is what's going to grow up. And I had my dirt that's down here, and I planted all those little sweet peas down there. So I'm just going to draw some little sweet pea seeds. And I know that they're not sprouting yet, but when they do start sprouting, then I can start putting some roots down there, and maybe I'll put a little sprout coming out. And as they grow bigger and bigger, I'll have them attach into the netting, and pretty soon I'll get to put a little flower on there. So, but for today, I just want to do the things that I have already done, and that is just those little seeds in there. So I'll erase that part. So think about how you might want to make a garden journal, things you might want to write, things you notice that's happening in your garden, flowers that are blooming. But a garden journal out of things you already have around the house and a little bit of nature will be great for writing in. See you guys later.